versus a small pool.
The only hesitance I have with that is that whoever we're going to interview, I want their background checks done before we interview them. And that's a big job for our police chief to do. So if we say 15 people and we don't intend to even really see 15 people, I don't think that's a good way to do it, but other people, what do you?
Why don't we see?
Yeah, see how many we come up with.
We might not even come up with 5
Yeah.
that we all agree upon.
Right.
You know, before we start saying how many. And if we have that problem that we have so many, that would be a good problem to have.
Yeah. Okay.
So can I ask you a question of
sorry.
Ken? Just a question of Ken. Ken, what did you see in Seth Wallace that we're maybe not seeing?
Okay, what did we see?
Yeah.
Okay, what we saw is that he had the experience in a coastal community. Okay, he had emergency management experience. He'd gone through some hurricanes. Okay, all of those types of things, you know, small city, the types of things that that I think the consensus of the advisors could mirror what was wanted here in this city. And so that was why he showed up on our list.
I did a little research on him today, very briefly, because I had written down that he had good experience, being that he was in Isla Mirada and Nags Head, coastal towns. But in last August, he left for health reasons, it says. That's only a few months ago. So that gave me hesitation.
Okay, I can address that issue. I did talk with Seth about that issue. He had some surgery planned, he got some infections planned, and it was going to be, as he said, it was going to require him to be off an extended period of time. And in his discussion with his counsel at Marathon, he felt like that it was unfair for them to place him on extended leave, and so he offered his resignation because he did not know how long, you know, he would be out during the surgery period and the recovery period because of the infection. Okay, he indicated that those issues had been resolved and had been taken care of. That's all I can tell you. I can't tell you, you know, what the health issues were, whether, you know, they've been addressed or all of those issues, because I didn't go into that. I just went into, are you at the position that you could, that your resume could be considered, and he indicated yes.
Yeah.
Question. So, did you talk to most of these folks that are on this list, like pre-screen over the phone?
No. Okay, that one is one that, you know, that I had seen in Florida League of Cities news release or something like that, and that's the only reason why I wanted to follow up on that one very specifically. And the only reason I knew about Lee is because we're involved with Lake Helen in their placement of their permanent city administrator and their interim administrator. We did not pre-screen any of them. We made it very clear to the group that was here that day that were sitting in on that session. This was a total paper review, and the only time that, you know, we may have gotten some clarification is because I was aware of something.
Okay, that's good info. I just didn't know if you knew things that we did and that we should ask you about on these folks. Just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Okay, my other hesitancy with him is this doesn't really tell me anything about it. It tells me where he worked, but I don't know what he did while he was there. You know, it's a one-page.
Yeah, it's a very short resume, and if those of you that were here, that was commented on by the senior advisors.
So, Ken, what's your?
I just didn't think there was enough information. I looked at it, but when I compare it to the other applications that provided more detail on his experience and this kind of thing here, I did not include it on my list mainly because I didn't think it was complete enough.
Thank you. Rick?
Same thing. Somebody that hands in a resume of that sort for a job of this category, you would think would be a little more
Mhm.
thorough. And makes me think he didn't take it as seriously as we'd hoped a candidate would.
Okay. Debbie?
Yeah, I feel like that.
Okay, Eric?
He doesn't even, he barely said anything.
Yeah.
On the surface, he has a very strong resume. Short as it is, but been doing the job a long time. It's a tough one to call. 'Cause, I kind of on this particular resume, it's kind of funny that you mentioned that, because I think, what kind of resume would Larry have written with his extensive job knowledge and being relatively well-known? Would it be thorough, or would it be kind of to the
No,
point?
it was thorough.
Was it?
I think I still have it at home, but it was very complete.
It's a good call.
It was. Okay, so I think we're not going to be looking at Mr. Wallace. The next one was Ben Newhouse.
In my opinion, on this one, I didn't include him, and this goes back to what Eric was just saying, that it appears that he was in jobs kind of short periods of time. It's like this one here, 2020 to present. And I agree on what Eric was saying is, someone is job hopping or isn't in a job that long. I'm a little suspect of.
Talking about Newhouse now.
Right.
Didn't he like have,
What did you think?
Even though in the other one, from 2005 to 19, that was a pretty long time there, actually.
I don't know, I kind of curious why he wants to come to Florida after he's been in West Virginia for 25 years.
Ever been in the snow?
No, but he does have hurricane experience.
know, he does.
Hurricane West Virginia.
Sorry, I was waiting. He's applied at a couple other job opportunities in Florida, somewhat recently, so there must be something, giving him the urge to come down here. I personally, I think he's worth talking to.
Eric?
So he was on my list.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Debbie?
he was on my list too. He's got some grant experience. He's got some pretty good experience, and I know you vetted Ken, what people that had short tenure in their jobs, and you did pick him.
Well, I felt to me, what was very important with all of these was whether they had experience in a beach or a coastal community. And he did not, nor does he mention any work in a disaster period. So I did not pick him. Yeah, Hagler Beach. That bothered me too, that he didn't proofread the, I know it's easy to make mistakes, but you should proofread what you're going to be sending in. Linda, I keep forgetting to ask you.
No, I'm good, because I don't vote. I mean, I'll give input when I feel
Okay.
I will just say this about him and many others, the beach experience was a huge thing on my list. And I didn't see that many that had beach experience, which was a little disappointing. So then I had to kind of let that go and see, if there
What
was
other-
any that.
Oh, yeah, see, I didn't let it go.
Well, but we'd have maybe 3 to interview.
I know.
Everybody else is from Minnesota or Michigan or.
All right, Eric, what did you say about this guy? Or did you?
I had him on my list.
Yeah, okay. So, everybody but me. Next one is David Stroll.
With the resumes.
Yeah.
I think the other one you're speaking of.
For those of you who still left your things in your notebooks, it's the last book we got. He's in.
No, I got them,
I,
they all look the same now.
before I separated them, I did write down what book they were in.
Your numbering on the labeling system was very efficient.
I'm sorry, Jim?
I was taught, her labeling system was very efficient, so it made me easy to go back to them and all. So it works.
Okay, anybody ready to comment?
Well, I like the fact that he sat still for a while.
Mhm.
A couple of his jobs, he's got some pretty good, from what I read. There was a lot of reading on this one.
Yes, there was.
So, I didn't see anything that raised the flag, so I left him on my list.
Yeah, he was on my list as well, 25 years of government experience. I thought he's got a pretty thorough resume.
Ken?
Yeah, I had him on the list. I thought he had a lot of things that could be beneficial in what we were doing in our little village here.
He's on my list.
No, he wasn't online. I didn't see anything that stood out to me. And again, no beach town, no disaster experience.
Excuse me? Okay, I'll sit over here, Bob.
Yeah, this will be,
Yeah, this is gonna be long. All right, the next one was Stacy Tebow. Jane said no, everybody else said yes. So we're up to Stacy Tebow. I'm sorry? You had her as a what?
Yes, if
Did
anyone
you?
cares.
If anyone cares.
So I said I wanted to hear from you.
I like the fact that she's got all Florida experience. She did have a pretty good tenure at DeBerry, a lengthy tenure. She's had some good success with grants from what I saw. And she remains on my list.
And Ken?
She wasn't on my list, but I do remember, I had made some notes on her and all, so I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to keep her on the list,
Eric?
because I did like the Florida experience.
She was not on my list. I just didn't think the city manager background was deep enough.
Debbie?
Yeah, she was, I'm okay with her.
Well, I'm going to tell you that I spent an hour on the phone with a person who used to be an elected official in White Springs, and her word was, do not hire this woman. I remembered her having some problems with this woman, and it isn't just her, because I thought, maybe she's sort of a friend of mine. She's pretty easygoing woman, you know, that she wouldn't be the one to cause a problem. Apparently, I don't know if you know her through the city clerks, no? Apparently, she is in the middle of a suit with DeBarry, and that's why she's no longer the city clerk of DeBarry.
What did she do?
She was a city clerk in DeBarry,
Right.
and she's in the middle of a lawsuit with them. I don't know what the lawsuit is.
Okay, I didn't hear that part.
And she just went on and on and on and on about how awful she was. That she has no respect for staff, that it's all about her. Not very good communication, if any, with the elected officials,
Oh, that's not good.
and on and on and on.
All right, bye-bye, Stacy.
So,
I was bouncing back and forth, to be perfectly honest with you, for some of those same reasons. That she has some issues with staff, apparently, that happened somewhere else along the way, from what I could read. So, it's not, I'm not gonna lose any sleep over her coming off the list.
anybody else change their mind? Okay, Eric, I don't think I heard from you.
She was not on my list.
She was not.
Yeah,
Okay.
the city management
Right,
background was
right,
not
right,
deep enough.
okay. I just hadn't checked you off, so. And Ken, how about you?
She wasn't on my list.
Oh, I thought I had, all right. Never mind. So much for Stacy. Okay, Stephen Wheeler was the next one. I know, I said we can't hold his name against him. I don't think that would be legitimate to hold his name
It
against him.
scared the living crap out of me when I first.
Really?
Yeah, you'll get to know him sometime.
Oh, you haven't met Stephen Wheeler yet?
Based on that,
Is he the one that he's on a comment?
Yeah, yeah. That's,
Kind of initiated you into being a commissioner.
that's,
Yeah, we said now you've been inducted. So anyway,
Well, I thought he had beach emergency management experience. He's in Ohio now since '09, but he did have some coastal experience in some quite tiny beach towns, but from what I understand, they were still tourist type deals. Sort of like Ocean City was in Maryland. People would go there during the
Sure.
summer months, but it kind of folded up in the winter. I don't know. He remained on my list.
he was on my list also.
he was,
Yes.
okay. Yeah, I had him on my list too.
Yeah.
The beaches that he worked
Right.
in, that he had disaster preparedness, that he worked with the state and federal elected officials, you know, things that we were specific about asking for. He worked on 5 separate beach renourishment projects. There,
he's not on my list.
he's not.
Has not been a city manager in over 10 years.
Debbie, you're all right with him?
Yeah, I'm okay with him. I did see that as well, but I'm okay with him.
Okay. And the last of the first tier ones that were chosen is William Whitson.
Used to be a city manager in Milton,
Milton,
Yeah,
Pensacola.
I know.
so. he's
We
got
can't
the-
ask Larry though.
He's got the panhandle stuff going on, maybe. It's definitely Florida roots and got the experience from what I could see, so he remained on my list.
He was on my list as well. I had him rated pretty high.
He was on my list.
Same.
No, Debbie?
Oh, same.
Oh, I'm sorry, I
Yes,
didn't.
that's fine.
Okay, and he was on mine as well.
So we scratched 2 of the 7.
Yep.
Correct. Wallace and Tebow.
E-
have that person on board.
And I don't vote on him anyway, so it won't make a difference if I'm sitting here or whoever's sitting here. As far as the
Well,
final thing.
but
I mean, it could
we
be
have
Eric,
this
but I'm
one
just
over
saying,
here.
the mayor doesn't vote on it, so.
May I suggest that you adopt by motion that this is the individuals that you're asking your police department to do the background work on, just from the standpoint, there is a formal action taken by the commission. Not a
Okay.
consensus, but now you've arrived at a consensus, now I would suggest. you
Make a
do it by
motion? Somebody want to make a
Penny, I'll
motion?
make that motion. You writing it down?
Motion by Rick that we accept this formal list of five. Let me put words in your mouth, what do you make of it?
You're doing a fine job.
I'll second it, Penny.
I was gonna say, should we include the 3 as a backup?
Yeah, because they may get shifted to
I don't know.
ones that we want to.
You second that amendment, Debbie?
Yes.
Okay.
So, and then Chair, can I ask another question, please?
Mm-hmm.
Are we paying for their travel expenses or any expenses
We can discuss that.
at the next?
It may be a moot point, you know, if we're
Okay.
interviewing somebody from 10 miles away. Or,
Oh, exactly, but,
yeah.
okay. I wasn't sure if we did that or not for the people.
Then
Traditionally, we have not.
I thought with all the Zoom meetings going on and stuff, maybe, what are your thoughts on doing a preliminary by Zoom before you, especially if you're bringing somebody in from a distance?
A number of cities are doing Zoom interviews right now. And then, that way, they don't have to bring them in because of the COVID issues and things like that.
Well, you had suggested that we kind of give them a chance and a feel of the town, so I think that's important as well. But if we narrow our candidates down to 3 or something like that, once we get to,
That's up to,
Yeah.
that's up to the
Okay, just-
commission. We have
I thought that was a
seen
neat-
some doing their preliminary interviews, but what you miss is the one-on-one interview time, unless you want to set those up, also by Zoom, you can do that. But I think it's important that not just the group interview, but the one-on-one
Right.
time that you spend with that candidate, because you've got to ascertain, is this a good fit between you as a commission and an individual commissioner and that individual?
Mm.
And if it's not, it doesn't work.
I thought maybe you might be able to trim a couple with the Zoom.
You could,
Look
but
first,
I
and
would
then-
suggest if you do it, that it be set up, that you do the one-on-ones as well as the full group.
Okay, understood,
I don't,
understood.
I think it's important that you have that one-on-one discussion.
I think so.
Because you have individual questions
Right,
that it may trigger something that you won't ask in the larger group.
okay.
So in the meantime, people could be thinking about questions that they want to ask. Because it's, I think,
With some sample questions, and then y'all can develop your own.
all right, and that we each ask the same question.
Right, yeah.
Because we have different tones.
I was thinking about that the other day. Is there a list of the questions we used the last time? Could you maybe share that with us?
I'll share with you also the list that we as senior advisors.
Great, thank you.
You have a motion and an amendment that's been seconded and haven't received a vote yet.
Oh, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You're so detailed. Anything else we need to be discussing?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I think it's very beneficial to have this discussion with you.
Okay, good.
Yeah, no, this was great, and your help has been really wonderful for us.
Thanks for making the trip again.
Thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.